Hello, I am back for part 2 of episode 2 of Naughty Girl Macrame Master. We are learning how to do the flat square knot first. And I've gone ahead and since the last video, I just went down a little ways on my necklace. I'm going to actually show you again how to do the macrame knots, making sure that you can actually see what I'm recording this time. So if you missed my first part of this video, I'm going to show you how to do the knot. So you probably, if you missed part 1, you probably don't have to watch it unless you want to hear me go on a rant about several things that I think are important. So what I'm going to do here to start my macrame knot, I can see that I have a loop right here, and then I have the tail part coming out here. And in the last video, we discussed that if you're not sure where you left off when you're doing a flat knot, you want to start where there's a loop. So there's a loop right here. This is where I'm going to have my loop. I'm going to have my figure 4, as I call it, just like that. We will take our top string here. We'll loop it over the tail of the figure 4, under the middle piece that our beads are strung on, and then through the triangle piece of the figure 4. So we just pull that through, and then once again, it's really important to make sure that our knots are uniform. So sometimes I'll take and kind of put my thumb flat, first finger flat, flat, and then you have this nice uniform knot. I can totally critique my own work right now and tell you up here, because I was using or am using hemp yarn, some of it can be a little thicker, a little thinner, and up here some of my knots aren't quite as uniform as I like. So right here they're very uniform, and that's kind of my expectations for myself, is just nice uniform knots. The next thing we're going to get into is putting our beads onto the necklace. So to put a bead on, pretty simple. You just push it up. And then I have my loop here so I know where to get started. You're just going to pretty much do what you did before. You have your figure 4, whether it be a backward 4 or a forward figure 4, depending on which way we're going. We're going this way because last time we went this way. So this time we're going to go this way. And once again, we're going to put our other string, we're going to wrap it over the tail of the figure 4, and then under the middle piece that holds our beads, and through the part of the figure 4 that would be making a triangle, or that would be making a loop. And then we just pull tight. When I'm putting beads on my creations, I like to put at least 2 knots between the beads. So right now I have 1 knot. I'm going to do another knot. And see, once you get, more familiar with doing macrame, you can do it fast. I can do it at this point with my eyes closed, which maybe that's what I was doing right here. I don't know. So I'm going to do, I think I'm going to do 2 in between each one. I'm a smaller person, and so by the time I get 2 in between each one, plus my middle rock here, I think it's definitely going to be long enough to hang down on my neck how I would like. If you didn't watch how to make the loom, or the first part of this video, in the part 1 of episode 2, I do show you how to measure out the middle string and the outside strings. So the middle string is basically 2 times the length that you need because it is folded in half, and then you add just like a couple inches just to give it some extra string just in case. Your outside piece is right here. This is 1 long string, okay? It's also what makes the first knot, and sometimes you can even use it to make your little loop right here that you'll use for your clasp. So this part is 4 times as long as what you need, and then fold it in half, okay? So that'll save you time in the event that you missed one of those videos. I'm gonna go ahead and do so I'll show you guys kind of slow again. We got our figure 4, our triangle, and then we take the tail around, or we take the whatever we want to call it. I don't know. It's early in the morning for me, you guys. My apologies if I'm just not making as much sense as normal. But we go over and then under the middle piece through the loop of the figure 4 or the triangle part, we pull our knot. And then we want to do it the opposite way. So then we go this way with our triangle. We go over the tail, under the middle piece, and then through our little loop there of our figure 4. And we just pull it nice and tight and uniform. I'm just going to go ahead and do these last couple real quick here. Feel free to ask me any questions that you might have. Excuse me, my family is getting over a cold right now, hence my time between my posting. I apologize if you've been trying to figure out how to finish this necklace. It just took me a little bit due to the whole cold and flu season. So here I got my beads. I'm going to do my next one here. And I got a little, one of the cool things about the hemp yarn is you get little danglies that you get to pull off. I don't mean cool like really cool, I'm being sarcastic. And we're getting to our middle now. Okay, so now we have our middle, and we have our rock that we're going to hang in the middle as a middle charm. Before I had mentioned that we weren't going to put it on the middle piece because of how it would end up twisting. Now I did actually make this rock, so what I'm going to do, well, I didn't make the rock, but I wrapped it anyway. I'm just going to turn my hanger to the side, and then I'm going to just go ahead and thread my side string right through here. And you'll want to pay attention to, you know, front or back if your beads have front and back. For this creation, we don't really need to worry about it. And then what I'm going to do right here is I'm going to let this kind of loop down a little bit when I tie my knot, so I'm going to pay attention to that. And then this part's going to be tight. So this is going to be like looping down a little, this will be tight. So what I will do, I'm just going to do that. Ooh. A lot of the times I'll just kind of sit in like a recliner or something, put this part, I put my legs up in front of me, I put this part right here just kind of between my knees, and it works just excellent as a perfect way to hold your loom while you're watching TV or watching your kids play or whatever the case may be. So I'm just going to be extra careful here because I want to keep this as a loop, I want to keep that pretty tight. So this is where I just kind of pay attention. Perfect. And I have my little loop here, so this can kind of swing freely. If you have it too tight, it's not going to swing, so it could get stuck up like that or something, and then, you know, you're going to look a little silly. And then we'll just finish these up here with a couple knots around them. Now with our loom here, the cool thing is, we're just going to unwrap this because we're running out of space right here, and that's okay. We do not need to have a loom as long as the piece of jewelry that we're going to make, all we need to do is wrap the jewelry around the loom. So I'm just going to take my middle piece out of my rubber band. I'm going to take and just kind of, let's get into here. I'm going to wrap it around once, and I think that'll be good for now. So I'm just going to wrap it around one time, and that way I have more space to do my, yeah, no, actually I'm going to wrap it around twice. You know, I could cut out any bloopers or, you know, mistakes or questions that I have when I'm making my jewelry in the videos, but I'd rather just leave them in so you can see, like, if you come to this situation, you know, this is what you can do, and if that doesn't work, then, you know, it's all good because you can do this too. So once again, we're just wrapping our hemp around the rubber band. The hemp stays very well. Like I said before, if it's like parachute cord or anything that is like super slick, you do want to take your pieces and wrap them around more than just twice, but it seems to be fine with twice. So I'm just going to continue on here with 2 knots, 1 and 2, in between my beads. Alright, so as you can see, I have gone ahead and finished putting the beads on the hemp, once again doing 2 knots between each one. I've done the rest of the knots, so we can see that our middle charm hangs in the middle. So I was very careful to make sure that as I was finishing up this part, I would keep checking to make sure that the length was going to be equal on both sides. I've also found a bead that I'm going to use for part of my clasp, and before I tie it on, I'm just going to make sure that it fits through this little loop that I've made. So the loop that we used to attach our necklace to the loom is also the loop that we're going to use as part of our clasp, and so it fits fine. This is a Fimo bead sprayed with metallic spray paint. So for this part, we are going to put the bead on all of the strands, and as I discussed in part 1, using this type of twine that is not really twine, it's yarn, can make it a little difficult to get everything threaded on. So I just sit there twisting it until I get it on, or I use some kind of hard glue, such as super glue, to make the ends hard, let it dry. So you don't want to use super glue and then put it on, because then it would stick. But if you use super glue on each one of the ends, it just makes them super hard like a needle. But you know, I like a challenge, so here we go. This is our third piece, so we have that on. There we go. I'm just going to take and pull all these nice and tight here. And then we have our very last piece, which I purposefully saved this last piece to be a pretty skinny kind of piece, so I could easily attach it. So I'm just going to put it in with the rest of these and kind of push it up with my nail and my finger and just keep twisting this bead on until it twists over all 4 of my pieces, which I think I have it. Let's see here. Okay, so I do have it. So now we're just going to go ahead and once again, I'm going to pull on all the pieces until they're all even. We'll push this down. I want to give myself a little bit of a wiggle room on this, so I'm just going to give it just a little bit of space in between where my knotting ended and where I'm going to attach this bead part for the clasp. And then this part's simple. You just tie it in a knot, all of it. Make sure that all 4 of the pieces get tied into your knot. And sometimes it can be a little funky. So what I do once I get my knot in place, I just take each string and I pull it as hard as I can, because you want this knot right here to be smaller than your bead. You want it to be as small as you can make it. It looks better, in my opinion. So we're just going to pull each one until they're as tight as they can be. And sometimes you've got to pull them a couple times, because you pull one tight, but then the next one, you know, tightens up a different one and whatever. And so we just keep pulling until it's tight. And there we go. So we're nice and tight. One of my things I like to use is fabric glue that's permanent, and I spoke about that before. The kind that I use is liquid stitch. This thing is about as old as my oldest child, so I'm not even going to try to squeeze it through. I like to take, and you don't have to, because it will, you know, it'll stay, but I like to take just a little bit of the permanent fabric glue, because it's clear, it's permanent. You know, if this is not necessarily fabric, but it's a very similar textile. So I just kind of put it around it, twist it, kind of like push it in. You know, sometimes I even mix my glue with a little bit of water so it'll soak in. Put that to the side, and then I just cut, you know, fairly close to the knot, but with just enough room to where it's not going to come out while my glue is drying. Once this glue is dry, I might just cut the knot. I might cut it all the way down. But now we can see. So to me, this would be the back, because that's the back of my rock. So this would be the front. And then all you do is push your little knot and your little bead through here. Out of the way. And we have ourselves our first little macrame project. So once again, I will be showing you how to make these rocks, the wrapped rocks. I will show you how to make the female beads. I also showed some wooden stained glass beads, as I called them. I did decide not to use them in this project, but I will be showing you how to do that. I will show you how to dye the hemp, because this hemp is dyed with RIT dye, among many other things. So I would like to thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you for if you decide to subscribe to my channel. That would just really help out. It'd be really awesome. The more subscriptions I get, the more motivated I get to make cool things like this, and it just kind of makes me feel good. So it'd be really super awesome if you just click that subscribe button. You know, it's going to be in the link at the end of this video. You can click the notify bell if you want to be notified when videos come out. If you just want to subscribe to support my cause, that'd be like super awesome too. So either way, thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and peace, love, hope, happiness for all. Over and out.